This is Spare Parts, your show for all things motorsports. With your hosts, Stephen Cleary, Sean Cavarella, and Taylor Moore.
Hear that music?
Welcome to Spare Parts. I'm your host, Sean.
I'm Steven.
I'm Taylor.
And we are back with another week of talking all things motorsports and basically anything else we find interesting. And, how was your week, guys? Did you guys have a good weekend?
Oh, yes. I've had a great weekend. I'm currently fun employed.
Okay, but that's by choice. You're in between jobs, so.
Yeah, that's why I'm fun employed.
Oh, that's what that's called?
There you go.
I'd never heard that called fun employed.
Okay, well, currently I am in my 2-week off period that I was supposed to work. However, I up and left. Technically, by their choice. But yeah, so fun employment has been great. We've been de-stressing.
I enjoyed this weekend having no internet or connection to the outside world at all.
Yeah. Thanks, Rogers.
Canada is stupid.
Okay, Sean, you're on Bell.
I'm in a basement. I don't get it. In the basement.
Fair enough.
So, like...
Go outside.
I had to touch grass, okay? Thank you very much.
Had to touch grass.
I had to go for a walk. It's not good for my skin. There was sun.
Ew.
Yeah, but it would be good for your gut.
That's fair. That is very fair.
Hey, we don't body shame on this podcast, Steven.
Oh, I do. I body shame Sean all the time.
I mean, there's a lot to be ashamed for, so...
Yeah. He's got to get ready for. He's got a year, but there's a lot of good eating in between now and his wedding. So, but we got to get him in wedding shape.
I mean,
so we got to sign you up for boot camp.
Okay, you know what? Let's just tie me to the back of a car and Steven can drive.
Okay.
Should we be like playing Eye of the Tiger as you run up like, a set of stairs in like the middle of Markham?
Okay, why did this become like fat shaming me? Okay, let's
We're
go
not
back.
Shaming.
No, Steven is shaming. I'm just saying,
Correct.
we could totally Rocky this thing.
I'll rock a piece of cake. Anyway,
No, we don't.
yeah. So, racing stuff this week. What do you want to talk about? What'd you guys watch? Because I didn't watch anything till Sunday.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I watched the Austrian GP this weekend, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah, I watched that. I tried to catch the NASCAR. I followed SRX on Twitter. Like the race going on, I just started following it now, but you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's stuff to talk about. I'll be honest, if we want to talk about the NASCAR quickly, it was kind of meh to me. The new Atlanta's okay.
It's a speedway. It's a super speedway.
It's a super slow super speedway.
Yeah.
It's a super slow super speedway?
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, it got a facelift to turn it more into a super speedway by repaving everything, giving it some banking, stretching out the front straight or back straight. It's stretched out the straights. It's still only 1.5 miles, so it's basically just it's mini me, basically.
It's not that good. I didn't like it.
It creates the super speedway racing of trains that relies on crashing to be somewhat entertaining.
Boo.
So
yeah,
I don't like races like that.
No, that's fair, and I feel like a lot of people are kind of meh on it. I don't know did Jeff Gluck do the whole like, was it a good race or whatever?
He did. I have not checked it yet, to be honest, but let's have a look and see.
Yeah.
Say fill in. I'm gonna take a second here.
65 said yes, 35 said no. So,
okay.
1 out of 3 don't like it, 2 to 3 at least accept it. But like good race versus bad race, right? I think it's easier to have something be a bad race than it is for it to be a good race.
Yeah.
But
I also feel like, to a degree, a lot of the people who say yes are probably like the fan base of NASCAR that's followed it for like 35 years or whatever.
There's a 10% probably of the population of NASCAR fans that will always say yes. They are just diehard, everything is great, love my sport, yada yada, that kind of group. And you know, every
10%?
sport has that. Maybe not 10, maybe like 5, but like every sport has that kind of really diehard fan. I thought 10%
was low.
No.
At least for NASCAR.
No, I would say so. Especially when you look at like on Twitter and, you know, conversations happening about like the actual events, it's not so rah. There is still a lot of nuance and, you know, general, I don't know, distaste for what it is at the moment. Because everyone still wants it to be back in the early 2000s style NASCAR, but it's not going to be that. Ever.
The cars are very, very different now.
But it's never going to be that. It's never going to be that style. It's never going to have that money. It's never going to have that kind of flair in the public. So just work with what you have to make it a good product.
Yeah.
Does Atlanta make it a good product, or did they try to make a product for Atlanta? I would argue the latter. And if you have to make a product for the track versus the track is good for the product, what does that say about your product?
This is starting to sound a lot like Monaco with F1.
Well, it's the same thing, though, in F1 for so many years, is that people kind of hated a lot of the tracks because it was boring.
Yeah.
But you had a lot of new tracks come around, like when Baku was first invented. Baku was created to kind of make the racing more exciting at the time, but it didn't actually help the racing. You know what I mean? Yeah. So in this Atlanta thing, it's like they're trying to make it work for Atlanta when it's a very specific package at the specific track. Maybe it just doesn't work. But I don't know. Two-thirds said it was a good race. I thought it was rather boring. Not the best. I don't know, just it also seems slow because the package is like such low power, high downforce to make that plate racing sort of vibe, and they just don't really get up to speed. So it was a no for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
But anyways, do we want to talk about the results of it and then move on?
Fine. Yes, all my bets didn't finish. Move on.
Yeah, that's not even what I was referencing, but okay, good to know. I probably could have told you that.
I know.
So you didn't bet on Chase Elliott?
No, I bet his teammates. 2 of them.
Shocker.
Yep, didn't go well.
But yeah, so Chase Elliott has won his 3rd race of the season now, right?
Yeah, didn't he not have a win for a while and then just kind of
sort of started off a little slow.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now. So,
so it was 11, 5, 10, 26, 9, 11, 6, 4, 14, 10. Like it trended up, finished first at Dover, finished 5th at Darlington, had, well, I'll call it 4 straight shit weeks finishing outside the top 20. And then the last 4 races are 8, 1st, 2nd, 1st with 2 poles in there.
Could you make the argument he's peaking too early in the season?
Maybe.
Or is he getting in form with the car? Maybe a bit of both.
Yeah.
Should other drivers be worried? Yes.
Yeah, because it's partially, I think, a string of luck coming back in his favor. Again, he had 4 shit weeks right before he had 4 really good weeks, like 4 weeks outside the top 20, then 4 weeks inside the top 10. So a little bit of luck, but also, yeah, just the car is helping him out a little bit.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I trust him to be in the Final 4.
Yeah, because I mean, like, he led 90. Like, this race is actually a bit of a microcosm of his entire season. Like, he led 97 laps, nearly got beat out at the end, got lucky because Corey LaJoie binned it, and 1 on a yellow. So, Ross Chastain might have beat him out at the end.
That was the one I did have as Chastain, to be honest.
Well, yeah, in that case, you came close.
That's how it's been for a while with me.
Yeah,
close, but no cigar.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think it would have been really interesting if Corey LaJoie was able to pull out a win, though, because that's another guy that doesn't have a win, isn't really in the points for the playoffs, sneaking in and stealing a playoff spot.
Yeah, we got 7 races left in the season.
And how many spots up for grabs?
Taking a look. Damn it.
Doesn't mean they can't make it easy to tell you.
Depends which site you look at, 'cause different sites have the points in different ways. Some have it based on season, some have it win sorted. So, I don't know is what I'm trying to say.
Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure there's been. Well, here I can tell you how many winners we've had, because that's how we determine the playoffs here.
12.
1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's 13 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 race winners.
Okay.
So three spots left. I think it's Blaney.
He's got to get a win eventually.
Maybe. But it's your next ones are Blaney, who's second in points,
but doesn't have a win.
Yep. Truex, who is sixth in points, doesn't have a win. And then Chris Bell, who has the 8th most points, doesn't have a win. So
the Toyotas are due for a win, is what you're saying. Because you have Truex doesn't have a win, Bell doesn't have a win, and who else? I guess kind of both of them. Busch only has one.
Both Bushes have one.
Yeah, but Kyle
and
Busch.
Hamlin's got 2. Yep.
The other
Bubba.
Toyotas. Well, he's not going to win one anyway.
Yeah. So just covering all the bases.
Okay. But yeah. So moving on from NASCAR, because honestly, we kind of didn't plan to talk much NASCAR, and we've already killed like 10 minutes. So good for us. F1 Austrian Grand Prix this week.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor, you almost ended up crying by the end.
Oh my gosh, I almost had a heart attack.
I wish I had a heart monitor on you during that race.
I was like, I don't think I took any deep breaths for a solid 15 minutes. I was like, it was like a nail biter, you know? As soon as Leclerc came on the radio and was saying that he had issues with his throttle, I was like getting real nervous. I was like, tell me, Ferrari has not Ferrari'd twice this race.
I mean,
so everything happened.
They kept trying to shoot themselves in the foot all weekend.
Yes, they did. They did try. Thankfully, did not succeed. At least for Leclerc, he really needed that. In terms of, I think his confidence level, he's been somewhat. He's just been struggling, I think, since April, since his last win. He hasn't necessarily been finding the right balance, I think. But
hasn't he blown up twice from the lead, or in chances to win?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be a kick in the balls, regardless.
Yeah, so I think he really needed that win for just his confidence and going forward. So. I think Ferrari needed that, maybe to get them a little bit more on track. I mean, like we heard from last week, it's just a mess in the Ferrari garage right now. So here's hoping that moving forward, they can have a little bit more cohesiveness as a team. But it really sucked for Carlos Sainz. That was heartbreaking to watch.
So let's talk about that for a second in terms of Ferrari in general, and you brought that up, a kind of like divide within the team. That is something that it's kind of seems like it's becoming an actual thing. Mm-hmm. Ferrari denies it's a thing, but
it's a thing. Come on,
watching Sainz and Leclerc kind of fight in the sprint race, because this was a sprint race weekend. Them fighting in the sprint race is kind of like, getting very close to each other. And then the actual race getting kind of close to each other. There seems to almost be an elbows out kind of attitude there in Ferrari, specifically between their team. And I think when it blows up, because promise me, or I promise you,
it will.
It will.
It will.
Binotto needs to be shot out of a cannon.
I agree.
He is allowing this to fester, and I'm sure he's one of those old school mindset guys who thinks teammates competing against each other makes them better. Maybe there's some evidence to that. It makes your team worse.
Yes.
That's why Mercedes was happy to have Bottas forever as a wingman, because they knew the importance of a team and having that team environment for the goal of winning.
Team player.
I think Ferrari's Ferraring this completely.
I totally agree. I don't think Binotto is fostering an environment of actually like teamwork. I think it's very like in terms of the drivers themselves, like I think Leclerc wants it just as bad as Sainz wants it, and there's no real desire, I think, to let one outshine the other. Because I think that's very natural, right? Like if one person definitely is going to have a better race or has more pace, I think it's very natural for like a driver to want to see the overall goal of the team coming out on top, right? Like we see it all the time with Red Bull. We've seen it before with Russell at Williams saying, compromise my race if you have to, if it means that, Latifi's going to have a better one. So I think that's more of the environment that needs to exist at Ferrari, and it seems to that like within the team itself, like not only the drivers and Binotto, but it seems like others as well are dividing on how things should be run and how strategy should be planned.
Well, for strategy, you go with Plan E for explode. Which was one of my favorite memes that came out of the weekend, which they told Sainz he is on Plan E, and his car blew up later. So,
Yeah. Well, okay, there's a lot that is kind of surrounding that whole topic from the race itself. Like, do you guys want to talk about that, or have we beaten Ferrari to death with a stick yet?
Oh, there's no such thing. You just keep beating that dead horse.
Until Ferrari has the blow-up moment, there is no point to look at it and be like, oh, this is it. This fuse is lit. It's going to blow. I think we can all see that. It's how many things are going to continue to happen, which is going to create a bigger and bigger and bigger explosion when it finally does go.
Yeah.
And every time they don't work to defuse it, they add more fuel to the fire, basically. Or more fuel under the fire for whenever it blows. So until it happens, I'm fine to leave the Ferrari topic. Give it maybe, 4 weeks.
Yeah.
I think 4 weeks
I
to
think
actually on vacation, but,
Yeah, I mean,
races.
the summer break's coming up in 2 races, so... Yeah. Anyway, okay, well... So let's talk about Sainz's crash, because like a lot of stuff happened, like not only in the Austrian GP that we can cover, but Sainz's crash itself. I mean, Twitter kind of exploded with a lot of criticism for the marshals and their response to it. And
why?
So I agree. A lot of people were complaining about how slow it seemed that the marshals' responses were to Sainz's car explosion, basically. So here's the thing. I really don't think that people understand, like the people who are complaining, I don't think they understand anything about marshalling, like practically, because their response time seemed very normal. I mean, like, depends on where the marshal post is, like how far are they running out to the track. For second, Sainz's car wasn't even stopped. Like, he couldn't even get it stopped because I think the brakes blew. So it just took a little bit of time for even him to get out of the car. Like, yeah, it was unsafe, but it was they had to grab a fire. Like, you can't expect these people to respond in 0.25 seconds.
They probably started running towards the car, saw it was on fire, ran back to grab fire extinguisher, and then ran back to car. all to go around a wall to then get to from the one access point. They're not going to climb over a wall with a damn fire extinguisher.
Yeah, like.
And the one marshal put a fucking rock under the tire and it stopped it. Like.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like. It's frustrating seeing people who are just like, oh, well, you know what, like, they took so long, they should have gotten there quicker. And I'm like, do you actually know anything at all about what marshals do at a track?
That's just complaining, I think, for the sake of complaining. Like, there really is no reason to be that emotional about that.
Yeah, or even that critical about it. It's such a small point. Like, science, like, thank goodness science was fine. It also took, like, a solid 30 seconds for the fire to become, like, the inferno that it was by the time that they had the fire extinguisher on it.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, I just don't really see why people are complaining about it. I don't really think that they have any basis for it. And I think it's just frustrating because, like, these people, like, they don't get paid to do this. They're volunteering to do this. Like, you really don't have to go after people who, like, do this pretty much as a hobby, but they're also, like, ensuring the safety of everybody who's there, like, not only the spectators but also the drivers themselves, and they do a pretty darn good job of it.
But let's be honest, like, you called it, like, Sainz's crash. He didn't even crash. He just pulled over because the engine went. Had it actually been a crash, they would have been there within seconds.
Exactly. They probably they didn't even know it was on fire.
They could see the driver. They could see him in the car. Did they know it was going to start rolling back or doing something like that? No, but they had to basically think on the fly to do what they did. I saw nothing wrong with their response to that incident. I don't like that people were mad at it for the sake of being mad.
Thank you. Okay.
There's something to complain about. Someone always will.
It's just annoying because, like, there's no reason for it, right? Like, it's totally unnecessary, and I think this is part of the problem with, like, the F1 Twitterverse is that there are some fans who just find something to complain about because they just can.
Yep. That's the thing with all sports, sadly. If there is something to be mad about...
Twitter sucks.
All social media sucks. But one other controversial thing out of this week was track limits. And people were getting very mad at getting penalties or how it was being policed, or basically the margin of error or the margin of going over. They were, like, looking down and measuring, like, the millimeter of the tire over the line at some points.
There was, 43 penalty or incidents of track?
Yeah, it was an issue in qualifying because Perez had his laps deleted. Had to start from 13th, I think it was, in the sprint race. It didn't make such a big deal because of the sprint race. So he can make, like, guys who screwed up, got their lap times deleted, can make their way back up. Yeah. But it's still is a thing a lot of people are mad about, I think.
Well, okay, so explain this to me, though. Like, what does this mean in the race context? Like, I understand the penalties in, like, the qualifying context and how that can translate, like, into the race day or into a sprint race. But when you're actually in the race itself, like, do you have to hit a certain number of violations and you get, like, a 5-second penalty? Or, like, how does that translate? Because I couldn't really understand, like, why they're making such a big deal out of it. And it also seemed like a lot of penalties. Like, it seemed like they were policing it to, like, the opposite extreme of everybody gets one if they just go off the track a little bit.
Steven, you want to explain?
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, it's, 3 penalties before, or 3 incidents before a black and white flag, and then you get a time penalty? Something like that?
Yes, I think that's what it is.
Yeah, you break the rule X amount of times, you get a black and white flag, then you do it again, you get black and white flagged again, and you basically just keep doing that until I think eventually they'll just say, no, screw it, you're coming off.
Okay.
Can't remember the exact count, but that's the easy, quick breakdown of F1 rulings.
And they definitely were going at it a lot harder than they have done in the past. But what would you rather see? Them go at it this hard and really enforce cars to be within the white lines of the track? Or the sausage curbs, which has, been a topic of conversation the last week or so after the crash in Silverstone in the F2 race, and then there was another big crash, I think, at Monza. Yeah.
Yeah, in WEC. Yeah.
So, what is the better solution in your opinions?
Gravel.
I was going to say that they have now, where they're not going to change the tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I like the gravel argument. I get why they don't do it at some tracks, because it's a MotoGP track as well, and the Moto guys don't want it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's still the best option in terms of stuff that they can do. I don't know. That's a bit tougher.
I don't
Yeah.
hate them being this strict on it, to be honest.
What?
'Cause
Just
everything.
call and
If you
and
were
hope.
even a centimeter over, you're done. That's a warning.
I think that's fair though. Like no, I think I'd have to agree with that because unfortunately, like as much as the gravel trap makes sense and that's something that would ideally replace the sausage curbing, I think in terms of we've talked about this many times, like that sausage curbing is dangerous and hopefully F1 would like get rid of it sooner than later. But if they refuse to and they can't do anything else, I think I'd rather them be strict as well. Just in regards to the safety of the drivers. Like we've seen such terrible crashes with sausage curbing, and if the stewards want to be like really strict about it, I think in the end it's better for the drivers, even if they don't think so in the moment.
I could see it also being like a gradual step where at this point in time, because we don't have the technology necessarily to do it, you be strict about it. But when you have the technology, maybe when a car goes off track, it loses its ERS use for a lap. So it's down on power for a lap as like a penalty for being naughty. Maybe that could be a future thing they could do with the electronic side of things, or limiting power or something like that. Just so that there is some kind of penalty. You just kind of get like a warning.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if it's then for everyone, then guys kind of learn where to push. Because I think the issue with the black and white flags and then the 5-second penalty is like, okay, when are you going to give the 5-second penalty? It's going to be like, are we really going to give a 5-second penalty for a guy who's like been like this close over every single time?
Mm-hmm.
Versus guys who are really taking big chunks out of the corners, right? So make it uniform across the board. No exceptions. I think that's a better way to police the sport. And makes it a bit safer.
Maybe. Probably. But
did we want to run down the finishing order for Austria?
Yeah, do you want to do the sprint race first or the actual race first?
It's the sprint qualifying. It's not a sprint race.
Oh, fuck off.
What?
I hate this format so much.
I'm already over the sprint race, to be honest.
I'm so over it. Like, can we please get rid of them?
Yeah, it's like the shootouts.
Yeah, the first time.
It was cool.
But
saw some
we beat the record, because remember last year, every sprint race, Hamilton and Verstappen crashed.
Oh,
this year
they broke it this year. Interesting.
I think they technically did last year in Brazil, but whatever. They still had a clash. Case didn't make contact this time.
No.
But limping his car home, somehow holding on to the win, was Charles Leclerc.
Sure.
Very good drive. Keeps the championship somewhat alive. Claws back that lead Verstappen has, but if he had his teammate finishing second, would have been a lot better.
Yes. Was good to see.
Much more interesting.
Was good to see Leclerc win at Red Bull's home track.
I think that was like they said like Ferrari's first win there in like almost 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it was like last like 2003 or 4, I think they said.
Something like that.
That is terrifying.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I was very happy.
And that was Leclerc's first win not from pole, right?
Really? Was it?
First one not from pole.
That's they made a huge point of bringing that up. It was his first win not from pole ever, and his first, I think, podium since Australia. Right? You already said that earlier, I think, but those were the 2 points that were getting hammered home on the broadcast each time.
Yeah.
Which broadcast was that? Was that the Sky?
Yeah. Yeah.
See, I watched the other broadcast on F1 TV, so I don't get that.
Oh, there you go. It's probably better.
You can
over there.
still get it.
You can.
But do you really want
choose
to?
Not to.
There you go.
I love Crofty though.
It,
I like Crofty. Whatever. Okay. Moving on.
But I mean, are we gonna see a run of Ferrari now because we had the Red Bull run of 6 in a row? Are we gonna get a Ferrari run?
No,
we can.
No, because they're gonna implode.
Of course, yeah.
Charles is gonna have a big engine blow up next week or 2 weeks from now. Next race.
Yeah, French Grand Prix power track. I think. Yeah, he's done there.
Yeah.
Hungarian Grand Prix, he might win because there's no barriers to crash into. You know, Monaco the barriers.
He actually finished. Remember this year?
Belgian, he'll probably win. Dutch goes to Max just because, you know. So just give the crown to Max, what we're saying, right?
Sure. I mean, it's 38 points, so it's quite a mountain to climb. But
it takes one DNF and one finish.
One DNF and a win.
It's really like there's how many races left in the season? Anything can still happen. Like it's really not that big of a gap.
Yeah, Max needs to have some bad luck fall his way, and he's right back in it. Because really, they're pretty close in terms of like finishing positions. Just Leclerc has a couple 5s and 4s in there, which really hurts, versus 1s and 2s for Max. So yeah, still halfway through the season, long way to go. We'll see how this one finishes out. We had Max second. I guess we kind of covered that one. Mercedes 3-4. Lewis got another podium.
Good recovery after crashing.
Are they showing pace?
Yes.
Are they getting better?
Yeah, I think it's hard to say they aren't. Like they aren't fighting with those
top 2.
Well, they're not fighting with the top 2, but they weren't before. I was going to say they aren't fighting the mid pack as much, and they seem to be having a slightly easier time.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
I think they've improved. I wouldn't say that they're up there still. Like
they were. So they were. Sorry, they were 40 seconds off of Max and Charles, and they were 10 seconds ahead of Esteban. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's hard because like if you consider Russell's performance for like the whole season, like he's been consistently in the top 6, like minus the last race when he, DNF'd.
Mr. Consistency.
Yeah, so like you kind of start to wonder like, yeah, okay, their car had trouble, but are they like is it a mix of improvements and just luck? I mean, if Sainz hadn't if Sainz's engine hadn't exploded, they're like Hamilton wouldn't have been on the podium.
Yeah, they're still best of the rest, but they're not making that step to really challenge the top guys yet.
Maybe I think it's also track dependent too.
Yeah, maybe after the break they'll be up there, but I don't know how much really they can get more out of that car in terms of upgrades and stuff for the rest of the year. But I also don't know how much Red Bull is going to bring in terms of upgrades because they've been bringing something every week, it seems.
At some point, they have to hit the cost cap.
Yeah, so budget cap will be fun towards the end of the season to see where these cars go and who's given up for next year.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mercedes may already just give up for next year because they're already best the rest.
I think that would be smart, actually.
I don't think anyone's close to them in terms of constructors. No, they're pretty much in the clear as long as they stay what they're doing. They may have already started switching focus to next year.
Yeah.
Just run minor upgrades the rest of the year and
make like
hope for the best.
Specific track, specific wing or something, but that's about it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they are 150 points clear of McLaren.
They're doing really well. 5th place, Esteban Ocon. Good job.
Yay.
Good for Ocon.
Did we have anything also before moving on to Russell, to his incident with Paris?
Yes. Fair. It was fair.
Sean, you look like you disagree.
Oh,
I always disagree with those.
You disagree?
Anytime you run a guy wide and you make contact, it's on you to also give room and not run wide. Guys on your outside,
but Sergio gave him room though.
Clearly not
that
enough.
was clear. Yeah, but it was also his corner. He was ahead of him going in.
Letting your car run wide and make contact is different than two guys kind of turning and coming into the same space. You know what I mean? You can slow down and not make contact there. Contact is avoidable, but it's one of those happy accident contacts where it's like, whoops. So I think those should always be penalized. It's the same thing with the Hamilton Albon one. Very similar.
Hold on. Why did you sound like you were disagreeing? I was agreeing with you.
Oh. So you say it should be a penalty?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
As it was.
Sorry, I thought you said it wasn't.
No.
I thought you were saying that it was a fine thing to have happen and shouldn't be a penalty.
No.
Okay.
No.
So we're on the same page. It should always be a penalty.
We are on the same page.
You can race hard.
100%.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, that's why.
Okay, yeah, because you said that weird. You were like, "Oh, I think it's
okay." Sorry, my
bad. The contact was okay, not the penalty. So
okay. So I guess the penalty was fair. Like I guess in my head I was referring to like Russell complaining about it. I think either post race or during the race because he was like complaining about how he had to how he got a penalty and it wasn't his fault or blah 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 as they always do. But
it's your fault. You know what you're doing there.
Yeah, he's playing the political game.
Exactly.
There.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was 100% his fault. Like,
okay.
It was so clear to see.
Yeah, glad we agree on that. So Ocon, good result for him. Good result for Alpine. Mm-hmm. Getting that best of the rest, I guess. So not the big three. Alpine's a team that's kind of slowly been marching to their own beat. And just kind of building momentum, it seems. Like, they're tied with McLaren. They're tied with McLaren right now.
Yeah.
I think they're the 4th best team this year.
Yeah, I would if I had to put money on one of the two for the 4th spot, it's Alpine right now.
Yeah,
I would agree. So we're all in agreement that Aston Martin's not the 4th best team on the grid.
No, they are fucking trash and they've broken my heart too much. I'm still gonna love them, but god damn it, they piss me off.
Okay, sorry, just had to bring that back.
I know. Bad takes exposed.
It didn't age well.
No, it did not. There was so much hope. Fuckers.
You can have hope for next year, Sean. This is what it's like being a Leafs fan every year. I hope you get used to it.
Yeah, it's also like a Ferrari fan, so. Haas with Mick Schumacher finishing 6th. So Mick has basically thrown out all those rumors that he was gone, right? Like,
yeah,
his performance last 2 races has basically been a fuck you to everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I think we were just waiting for it at this point, right? Like, I think Schumacher had I think he has the talent to get there. I think he just needed to adjust to the car, and sometimes he was a rookie last year. He didn't have a good driving partner. Like, we can all admit that. But I really do think that he's in a good environment with Gunther and Magnussen. Like, I think Gunther has a really good perspective on being a team principal, and I think he can manage the environment really well, but also pairing him with Magnussen I think was a really good move because he just has the experience and he can really kind of foster Mick in that environment. So
Yes, I think it was good. I'm happy for Mick getting some good points last couple of races. Been a long time coming.
The rumors of his exit have been greatly exaggerated.
Yes.
Yes.
Also,
He's also driver of the day.
Yep, I was gonna say, did you see his reaction to him learning that he was driver of the day?
Yes, I did. That was very cute.
Oh, I am. Oh,
very cute.
Yeah.
So cute.
Yay, Mick! Waving a Mick flag.
Yep. Hop on the Haas train, Sean.
Yeah, if you're gonna hop on any train, please hop on the Haas train.
You want me hopping on the Haas train?
Actually, no, never mind.
Thank you.
No, don't do it.
I will happily continue hurting myself and being on the Aston train for everyone else to enjoy the Haas train.
There you go.
Okay.
There we go. That's a good idea.
It is a sacrifice I am willing to make.
Good job, Lord.
Good God. Here we go.
Norris 7th. Decent race from him, even though he had a 5-second penalty. Good recovery to still be 7th.
Yep.
Magnussen 8th, Ricardo 9th, and Alonso 10th. Good. Honestly, it's the guys who you expect to be there.
Yep. Yeah. K-Meg should be there. Ricardo, good to see, I guess, kind of bounce back, right? He's been having a rough season.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about how he's or
the rumors about him?
What Buxton said.
You know what?
It's
yeah.
Like, it was sort of like because if you missed it, well, I can't remember if this was
post-race.
I think it was pre-race. Was it post-race?
Post-race, I'm pretty sure.
But it's like it was basically like, it's a shame he's not going to be here next year. It's like, has he heard something?
Hello?
Yeah, there is
talk
about Ricardo might just leave.
Well, and then you also coincidentally timed that with Colton Herta testing in Portimao today and tomorrow. So,
Yep.
A little something there with
does
McLaren,
not have
by the
the
way.
Points, though. He doesn't have super license points.
No.
So if McLaren is replacing Ricardo, it is going to be with Award.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it was also it's really weird seeing some of the wording around it of how it's if Daniel chooses to leave, and then sometimes it's if McLaren replaces Ricardo.
Mm-hmm.
So
convenient, eh?
Yeah, it's very interesting seeing the different verbiage thrown around.
I know there's somewhere there's a list of everyone's super license points. I don't recall where the hell it is, but I know it exists somewhere.
You can find it for next week. That's your homework.
Fine.
There you go. Okay.
Hang on, because Alonso, we have to talk about this. What was going on at the Alpine team where they just left the tire covers on for the start of the sprint?
He had something wrong with the car, I think. There was some kind of, pneumatic leak or something, because they brought it back in and they pumped something back into the car.
Yeah.
So
I think they were working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they because of safety and rules, they had to leave it.
Yeah, I think they knew it wasn't working, so they chose to leave it there to do a pit lane start, and they got lucky that Joe broke down on the grid.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And that they had to do an extra formation lap, and that bailed out Alonso.
Yeah. So I think it was a lot less dramatic than I think the broadcast made it seem. Like, the broadcast people were like, oh my goodness, can you imagine they left the tire covers out? They didn't actually take 1 second to realize that no, these people aren't incompetent. They just were working on the car and had to leave it. They don't have a choice.
Yes.
There was a lot of confusion on Saturday morning.
Just checking. Pato actually has enough super license points, by the way. Yeah, Herta does not. He only has 32.
How many do you need?
You need 40, I believe.
Yeah,
and he needs basically to finish 4th or better in the IndyCar Championship to get enough points.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well.
So, whoops.
Right.
He's not making it.
No.
Though.
I mean, what?
So another person that I just wonder if McLaren would replace Ricardo with instead of Award. And not... What happens if you kind of mix a guy like Pato Award and a guy like Colton Herta? kind of like a European kind of heritage in racing, but American background, signed to the team for next year.
Going?
Rossi?
No.
He's signed to McLaren.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen, but okay.
They're just gonna start playing.
I think Award would make more sense.
But they're just gonna start playing the shell game.
If you're going for the American marketing side of things, get the American in.
Yeah, Pato's close enough. He's Mexican.
Did you really just say that?
Okay.
Geographically, it's close enough.
I guess.
Oh my gosh.
Steven.
Okay. Moving down the grid.
They're all trash. Specifically those fucking green guys.
Fair enough. Okay, so let's talk about Vettel for a second. I know he's not next in the grid, but like everybody else kind of had a blah race. Yes.
Breaking my heart.
Okay, I'm specifically talking about his comments this weekend about what happened with the fans at the Austrian GP, because a lot has come out about that. Apparently there were a lot of really like abusive fans that were there. There was a lot of cheering when Hamilton and Russell crashed out. I think also there were a lot of people burning Mercedes hats in the stands. So Vettel kind of came out and said that I'm not sure about any of the other abusive behavior. That's all the abusive behavior I've seen. I think there might have been more like other instances as well, but Vettel came out kind of condemning everybody and saying that there should be like a lifetime ban for these people. Like
there's also harassment towards a lot of women there too.
Yep.
Okay, I didn't see that part, but I believe it. Like apparently it was just really bad, and like a lot of fans had terrible behavior. So Vettel's comments I thought were really I mean, like, Vettel's, like, the F1 dad, right? But, like, he was saying that they should receive a lifetime ban and never be allowed to come back, and I think that's fair. Like, you shouldn't be allowed... Like, F1 kind of exists on this... They pride themselves on, like, good behavior, right? And everybody's supposed to be there to have a good time, and I don't think it's fair for people to go and be afraid that they're going to get harassed by anybody, or, you know, like, especially if they're a fan of a certain team, and I don't think it's also... nice for drivers to hear people cheering when they crash out, because like it's a scary thing. Like you never know if a crash is going to be deadly or not, and like whether or not it looks, you know, okay or bad. But I don't think that's behavior that should be condoned by F1, and as far as I know, they've been pretty hard on those people, and I think that that's good, because like you know, it sucks when other fans are ruining it for you, because people pay a lot of money to go to those events, right? And it would really suck, like especially like as women in motorsports, like sometimes we have a hard enough time even getting into the room and having an opinion.
There's a lot of gatekeeping.
Really suck.
There is.
Yeah, and it really sucks to hear that they were subject to harassment by other fans. It just really sucks to hear that, and I think that people need to do better. Like honestly, do better. Don't be a fan like that. You're going to ruin it for everybody else.
Yeah, don't be a piece of shit. Rule 1 in life and everything else. In terms of all this shit happening, don't be a toxic fan. Cheer for who you want. Don't cheer against someone else. The last thing you want to do is cheer an accident only to realize for the guy to be dead.
Yeah.
Right? So, cheer when your guy does something well. Don't cheer when someone does something bad, because, you know, it's kind of shitty. And, like, we've kind of seen this kind of growing ever since the Latifi thing last year. Like, there is this toxicity within the F1 fan base that really can just fuck off. Like, no one needs that.
Yeah,
just enjoy
agreed.
the sport. Let other people enjoy it. Don't attack people. Just don't be dicks. It's not that hard.
Well, for some people it is.
Then I agree with Vettel. Ban him.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that would be the best way to do it, because how else are these people going to learn? Like, are you just going to give them a slap on the wrist and they get to come back next year and do whatever they want? Like, no.
Actions have consequences. So, yeah, fuck them. Get him out of there. And the FIA also, don't forget, fined Vettel for conduct in driver's meeting.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Yeah, he walked out on the drivers' meeting because he was frustrated about something.
Yeah,
But they didn't say what that was.
No, I wonder if it's curbing or track limits, some shit like that. Maybe because he was heated about something and just stormed out.
Which doesn't seem normal for Vettel. Like, he's not a very, like, confrontational dude, and he doesn't really come across as somebody who gets heated very quickly. So...
He is giving less shits, though, nowadays. He
Well,
is
that's
very
fair. I
much
mean, he's
a
also,
talk
like...
first and fuck it, I do whatever I want.
He's also a smart guy, so I feel like it would have to be something pretty serious for him to get heated, like, to the point where he walks out.
Very true, yeah. So, is that all we got for the F1 stuff? Anything else you want to cover? Because I have...
Too bad signs, too bad Checo. There, like, rounds out the grid.
Yeah, that's fair. Also, Latifi retired at some point, too. Never even noticed.
Yeah.
Didn't notice.
Yeah.
All right, are we moving to Indy?
Yes, because this week is finally our legit home race
Yay!
in Toronto.
And we're all going.
I am very excited.
Hoorah.
And
We all get to be correspondents.
Yeah, and I want to ask all of y'all your predictions for this race. Either give me a top 3, a winner, you know.
I have my winner.
Who's your winner then? We can do some winners or a podium if you want. Go for a full
Marcus
podium.
Ericsson. Okay, so Marcus Ericsson I have as my winner. Because I like him and I want him to win. 2, I'm going to say Newgarden. And 3...
Willpower.
No, we're going to go with Grosjean because why not?
I don't think Grosjean finishes the race.
You know what? That's a fair
The race
prediction.
will be a shit show. I've said this before. Like, half the IndyCar grid, as it is, has not raced Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's been 2 years.
Yep.
That's
So,
true. Yeah.
I don't expect, like, Polo, O'Ward, guys who are, like, new top guys in IndyCar have never raced here. So I think this is going to be a old guy track. Old guy in kind of air quotes. I'm going
every year it's tougher to say.
I'm going for like a power. I'll say Dixon wins, Power second, Pagenaud third. Get that.
Say Dixon.
I do have a dark horse win.
Who's your dark horse, Sean?
This may sound crazy from what I just said.
Please don't say Dalton Kellett. No.
You'll see where I'm going with this. Rinus VeeKay.
Yeah. Okay. Explain.
Okay. Please explain.
Carpenter does well here randomly. They've won here in the past with Mike Conway. They won here with Joseph Newgarden before he was like Joseph Newgarden. If anyone any team is to surprise us with a win, it'd be Ed Carpenter here. And I feel like it would be Rinus VeeKay. So he's kind of my dark horse to win.
Was that win by Newgarden? Was that his first win?
No, it was his second. He won like 2 weeks previously.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because his first win I think was Barber that year.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Good memory.
But yeah,
what year was that, Sean?
2015.
Good job.
Yeah.
May as well go for the full sweep there.
Yeah, it's okay. So since 2013, Penske and Ganassi have won every Toronto race except 3. One was KV Tech, which isn't a thing anymore, so they're out of there. And the other 2 was Ed Carpenter, or Carpenter Fisher Hallman Racing, whatever that was. The point being, Carpenter is a team that surprises here. They sometimes can figure it out, so if anyone's going to do it, I say VeeKay. But my actual prediction was 100% Dixon or Power, because they always do well here. And then Pagenaud, because he's also done well here in the past.
There you go.
Steven.
I was gonna say Dixon as well to win because he just always seems to do well in Toronto. Like whenever, since we've been going and since he's come onto the scene, I feel like he's always running in the top. Like he's just constantly in the battle, and you constantly hear his name over the loudspeaker. So kind of hard to not think he'll be up there at the end of it. I was gonna say my dark horse is in the same stable as you, Sean. But it's the guy that's just behind Renus.
Daly?
In the stand. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Didn't he come like second here? Like the 1 year, what was it? 2016 when we went down? Or no, 2015. It might have been 2015. He might have been on the podium with Newgarden.
No.
Hang on. Let me find this.
Oh god, that podium was Newgarden, Luca Felipe, and Castroneves.
Jesus.
That is, he has not podiumed here.
Okay.
Yeah, you
Well,
are
either way.
wrong.
Well, you know what? I'm going to be right when he does something in podiums.
I like the ballsiness of the pick. I just don't think it's a good pick.
Yeah, you like the Ed Carpenter cars here? Why not?
Yeah, that's fair.
I think he's also had some bad luck in Toronto the last couple outings.
Well, that's the thing. Also, like Newgarden, it seems like he either wrecks in Toronto or he wins.
Checkers or wreckers.
I think it was like
do it for the Canadians.
I want to say it was 2018 maybe, where he hit the wall, and he was like leading the race and hit the wall coming out of the pit lane area, like onto the main straight. So he's been known to have bad luck. So, because usually Toronto is an interesting race because anything can happen in a street course, but also we've gotten random winners in the past. So,
we see what happens.
Like some random winners of Toronto. Can you name 3 people who have won in Toronto who didn't win with Penske or Ganassi or Ed Carpenter? Actually, Ed Carpenter I guess counts. There are a couple random ones.
So sorry, it's anyone not in
who didn't win with Penske or Ganassi in like the last 15 years. Like since the 2000s, guys who've won a race now with Penske or Ganassi.
Not with Penske.
One of them's easy.
Didn't Will Power win when he wasn't with Penske?
He didn't. That's he won back with Walker.
Oh, okay.
No, that's a good one. That's a really good one to guess. Was that his first win? No, I don't think so.
Maybe.
Long Beach that year was his first win.
I want to say it happened at a double, 2 in Toronto one or whatever it was. What was that promo, Sean? The 1 year they did 2 in Toronto. Was it 2 in Toronto?
Yes, that was Dixon that one too. He back to back, and Power's first win was in Toronto. Well, Dixon did back to back in 2013.
Yeah, no, sorry. I thought okay, never mind.
2014, that back to back, you had 2 random winners.
Yeah, because one was that was the race I think I was thinking of because that was an Ed Carpenter win, but that was Conway.
There you go. That was the easy one I was going to give you.
But who won the first race? Because that was another random winner.
Sebastian Bourdais.
So I was going to say Seabass.
Okay, you were in the right ballpark there. I'll give him to you.
But he won their
just once. Well, at least
no.
Back in the kart days, yes.
But, okay.
Yeah. Though I do have a complaint about Toronto this week, and that it's going to be on Peacock and not actually available for TV in the States, which I think is a shame.
Yeah, I think so too.
But I understand why, because
Peacock.
It probably wasn't guaranteed it was going to happen. So
probably not. Yeah, like it probably was very COVID dependent, but yeah, I agree.
Oh, and we are missing one car from the full-time grid this week for Indy. It was announced the 11 car of Tatiana Calderon is not showing up due to funding issues.
The whole rocket thing. Let's just say the whole rocket thing we've already talked about because Rocket doesn't know how to go through with a full plan.
Yeah, that's no surprise there. Yeah. But there was also, I think, what was it? There was an article out today. I'm just going to pull it up, to be honest. It was a Marshall Pruder article about the pit lanes and how they're squeezing all 25 cars and making their pit boxes smaller for this week than the standard, 40 feet? I think it's down to like 35 feet. So it's going to be a tight pit lane, but that's as to be expected with Toronto. Thingy snuck into that article.
Okay.
Plans are still in the works for IndyCar and GSRP, which is Green Savory or Savory, whatever the hell you pronounce it, racing promotions, the guys who run the Toronto race.
Yep.
They have designs on a bigger overhaul to the pit lane, which would allow for close to 30 cars to take part in the event.
I like that.
Yeah, so there's going to be something new happening in Toronto for maybe a few years. So I'll be curious to see how they do that. There's definitely potential there. It just takes effort to do. So
I wonder how much of a change it's going to be.
Man, we can debate that when we're there, and we can talk about it when we're there, because it's hard to really picture on maps.
Yes.
We'll do a track walk and see where they've got the space. As long as it's not down Lakeshore, that's all I care about.
I think it has to be in that S's area, but maybe they'll put it back towards the stadium more. Yeah, but yeah, we will see what they do there.
Yes.
Anyone else final thoughts for this weekend, or this weekend that just came, or the one that's coming up?
Just ready to smell burning rubber again.
It's gonna be fun.
How many incidents do you predict in turn 3 where we are?
Many.
For the whole weekend.
Many.
Oh, whole weekend? 7.
Many.
I'll go 8. I'll Price is Right you.
9.
Oh, you.
Fuck you, Steven.
Oh, come on, guys.
Okay, so and on that note, we will wrap up. Thank you for listening to this episode. If you agree or disagree with anything we said, yell at Steven on Twitter. He is at Steven Clary. He loves to hear from everyone who just hates on him.
Absolutely loves it.
Yeah.
It's spelled with a V.
Yeah, and like he's the kind of guy who also like sends you Twitter notifications on Snapchat for some reason. So anyway.
And don't worry, he will respond.
Yes. Anyway, thank you for listening. We'll be back next week to talk about everything else that happened. Thank you and goodbye.
Thanks for listening to Spare Parts. Remember to follow the show on Twitter at sparepartspod and the hosts at Stephen Clary, at Sean Cavarella, and at Tate Moore.